The tragedy in Uxbridge is horrifying. A dog walker, a man well known in his local community, has been killed while performing that most ordinary and humane of tasks. Others have been grievously injured. It's right that public sympathy and full legal accountability focus first on the victims. Yet if we are to prevent further horror, we must confront the conditions that produce the small minority of violent offenders within the asylum system, as well as, of course, give license to thoroughly evil people to do whatever they want to do. It's not controversial to say that there will always be some criminals within a large group. Criminality is a human failing, not a national characteristic. The fact that this suspect is Afghan should not be a frame through which the public interprets the wider Afghan refugee population. However, we cannot ignore that bad systems exacerbate human frailty. When young men are held semi-idle for years or months in unsuitable accommodation, barred from work, bedeviled by uncertainty and often wrestling with trauma, the risks of violent breakdowns and antisocial behaviour inevitably increase. This isn't to say that accommodating asylum seekers produces criminality, but it is to say that if potential for criminality is there, it doesn't exactly decrease the incidence. The Home Office's long reliance on an institutional limbo has created exactly the risks. There is a perverse logic at work. Place traumatized young men in hotels or overcrowded properties, deny them the dignity of employment, keep them suspended in administrative fog for months and years, then express surprise when frustration boils over into lawlessness and the danger that creates for the local population. Even where accommodation is not provided by the state, the root conditions persist. In this case, the Afghan man appears to have been a lodger, but his immigration history tells the deeper story: clandestine entry, years of uncertainty, and likely a profound psychological burden from his origins. And an individual is responsible for his actions, but institutions are responsible for the pressure that they create. And we must also acknowledge a political atmosphere that feeds this problem. Public hostility ensures that government officials default to caution, avoid swift decisions, and keep cases in perpetual processing. The consequence is insecurity, not only for the asylum seeker, but for the local community. A person who cannot plan a future is a person less anchored in the norms and obligations that bind neighbours to one another. The Bournemouth hotel case illustrates this vividly. A man with PTSD shifted from one hotel to another, living in a state of powerlessness, reacted violently to a trivial conflict over food. His behaviour was criminal and frightening. Yet any serious observer must ask what happens when hundreds or thousands of similarly damaged men are warehoused in limbo. It's not an excuse, but an explanation. Trauma combined with idleness fosters volatility. As the old adage goes, the devil makes work for idle hands. Policy has failed on two fronts. First, we have not processed claims quickly enough. People remain trapped in systems that neither integrate nor remove them. Second, we refuse to allow asylum seekers to work while they wait. Even when the economy clearly benefits from additional labour, work is stabilising, it builds belonging, it asserts social duty. Instead, we leave people to deteriorate psychologically and socially. There's also the vital question of public reassurance. Communities need visible engagement, not just police tape after the event. When crime is committed by someone with refugee status or migrant status, fear extends far beyond the immediate act. It damages trust in the very idea of asylum, even though most asylum seekers are peaceful and want to contribute. One violent act can destroy the goodwill built by hundreds of others. The correct political response is not to shut the door, it is to maintain firm borders and enforce humane order within them. Rapid decisions, proper housing, mandatory integration pathways, psychological care, employment from day one, mental health support proportionate to the trauma people carry. The Uxbridge attack is a calamity that will draw the ugliest voices into the public debate. People have already been talking on the comments pages They will claim that violence is imported together with migrants. The humane and intelligent answer is that violence thrives where we engineer hopelessness. Policy shouldn't design pressure cookers, then act astonished when they explode. We owe security to our communities. We owe dignity to those who come to us seeking refuge. If we fail either side of that equation, we do not merely risk further tragedies, we guarantee them.